The village of Yuminis was always alive with the sounds of mourning. Children's laughter echoed as they ran down dusty footpaths, women pounded yam with steady rhythms, and men prepared to leave for their farms. Amidst all this, one girl stood out, not because she was the prettiest, nor the neatest, but because she was the opposite. Her name was Ada. While other girls wore brightly washed wrappers and combed their hair into neat plaits decorated with beads, Ada's hair was tangled and frizzy, filled with tiny particles of dust. Her dress, once yellow, was now so stained that no one could remember its original color. She never bothered to wash her feet, the earth had become her sandals. The children of the village often teased her. "Ada, look at you. You look like the ground itself," one boy shouted as she passed by. "Maybe she is the goddess of dirt," another girl laughed, covering her nose dramatically. Instead of shrinking away, Ada puffed up her chest, placed both hands firmly on her hips, and shouted back. "Yes. I am Ada, the strong one. Dirt is my crown, dust is my perfume. You can laugh all you want, but I am not ashamed." Her loud declaration made the children burst into laughter, but Ada only grinned wider. Her pride was like a shield, and though their words sometimes pricked her heart, she refused to show it. Older women shook their heads when she passed. "This girl will bring shame to her family if she continues like this," they murmured. "A girl should be neat, not walking around like a pig from the pen." But Ada would just shrug and keep walking, her bare feet kicking up little clouds of dust. Deep inside, however, in the quiet moments when no one was watching, she sometimes felt a heavy knot in her chest. She wondered why her heart raced whenever the children mocked her. She wondered why, when she saw other girls braided and clean, she felt a small pang of envy, an envy she quickly buried under her stubborn smile. That evening, as the sun set and painted the sky with strokes of orange and purple, Ada sat alone on a rock by the village square. The laughter of the children still echoed in her ears. She pulled at her dirty dress and muttered to herself, "They don't understand. I don't need to be clean to be strong, right?" The night answered her with silence, and for the first time, Ada wasn't so sure. The next morning, the village of Yuminis was already buzzing. The cocks had crowed, fires crackled in clay stoves, and the scent of roasted plantain drifted through the air. Ada, as usual, strode barefoot through the dusty square with her head high, ignoring the whispers that trailed behind her like shadows. She was chasing a stray chicken when a calm, steady voice called her name. "Ada." She froze. Everyone in the village knew that voice. It belonged to Mama Ifeoma, the oldest woman in Yuminis. She was a woman of deep wrinkles and deeper wisdom, her grey hair wrapped neatly in a blue headscarf. Children respected her, adults listened to her, and even the elders leaned on her counsel. Ada turned reluctantly, frowning. "What is it, Mama Ifeoma?" The old woman studied her with kind but piercing eyes. "Come and sit with me, child." They sat under the giant mango tree at the edge of the square, where the shade stretched like a cool blanket. Ada pulled her knees to her chest, stubbornly avoiding Mama Ifeoma's gaze. After a long silence, Mama Ifeoma spoke softly. "Ada, why do you wear your dirt like a crown?" Ada laughed mockingly. "Because it is mine. Dirt does not make me weak. People wash every day, but still they complain, still they fall sick, still they cry. Me, I do not care what they say. I am strong." The old woman nodded slowly, as though Ada's words did not surprise her. Then she plucked a ripe mango from the ground, wiped it gently with her wrapper, and held it up to the sunlight. "See this mango. It fell into the dust. If I eat it without cleaning it, I will enjoy the sweetness for a moment, but soon I will taste only sand. She placed the mango in Ada's palm and continued. Child, pride is not a bad thing. A lion is proud, a river is proud, even the sun is proud. But pride without wisdom is like eating dust with your fruit. It fills the stomach, but it does not nourish. Ada shifted uncomfortably, squeezing the mango in her hand. So, are you saying I should be like the others? Always washing, always braiding, always trying to look perfect for people. Mama Ifeoma chuckled, her eyes twinkling. No, Ada. I am saying that true pride is not about ignoring the dirt. True pride is about shining so brightly that people see your strength through your cleanliness, not hidden beneath the dust. Ada's heart thudded in her chest. She didn't respond. She wanted to scoff, to laugh, to brush it away like she always did. But the words clung to her soul like dew on morning grass. As Mama Ifeoma stood to leave, she placed a gentle hand on Ada's shoulder. One day, you will look into the water and see yourself clearly. That day, you will understand. Ada remained under the tree long after the old woman left, rolling the mango between her palms. For the first time, she did not laugh at the idea of change. She felt a strange stirring in her chest, something that was both frightening and hopeful. The whispers of the village no longer seemed as loud as the whisper inside her heart. The following evening, the sky was heavy with the colors of dusk, deep orange fading into purple, the air cool and filled with the sound of crickets. Ada carried a small clay pot to the village stream. Normally, she would skip along the path without care, humming songs loudly. But today, her steps were slow, her thoughts heavy. Mama Ifeoma's words still echoed in her mind. True pride is about shining so brightly that people see your strength through your cleanliness, not hidden beneath the dust. She shook her head and muttered under her breath. Why should I care? I am Ada. I don't need anyone's approval. But even as she spoke, she felt the crack in her own voice. When she reached the stream, the moon was already rising, casting a silver glow on the flowing water. Ada knelt and dipped her pot into the cool current, the ripples spreading out in small circles. Then, as she leaned forward, she caught sight of something that made her chest tighten. Her reflection. It wasn't the strong, fearless Ada she always imagined. The girl in the water had sad, weary eyes, her face smudged with dirt, her lips dry, her hair tangled like an abandoned broom. For the first time, Ada did not feel proud. She felt exposed. Her heart raced. She whispered to herself, "Is this truly me? Is this the girl they see every day?" She tried to look away, but her reflection pulled her back. The ripples in the water seemed to mock her, twisting her face into shapes she didn't like. A lump formed in her throat. Suddenly, she remembered the other children, how they giggled, how they pointed at her, how they whispered behind her back. She had always covered the pain with laughter, but now it all returned, sharp as a blade. Ada placed her hand on the water surface, watching it ripple beneath her touch. She whispered again, softer this time. Maybe Mama Ifeoma was right, maybe my crown is only dust. For the first time in her life, Ada did not feel strong. She felt small. The mighty pride she had carried like a shield crumbled under the silent truth of her own reflection. The stream gurgled gently, as if inviting her closer, as if telling her that she didn't need to remain this way. Ada sat by the bank until the moon was high, staring at her reflection. Deep in her chest, something shifted like the first crack in a wall that had been built for years. And though she didn't yet know it, this night was the beginning of her change. The night after Ada's reflection unsettled her, she found herself unable to sleep. She tossed and turned on her raffia mat as the crickets sang their endless chorus. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw her own face in the stream, sad, tired, and hidden beneath layers of dust. By dawn, she could bear it no longer. With the first call of the rooster and the smell of wood smoke drifting through the village, Ada tied her wrapper tighter and hurried back to the stream. The morning was quiet, the kind of quiet that felt sacred. Mist hovered above the water, and the birds were just beginning their songs. Ada stood at the edge, staring at the flowing current. For a long time, she hesitated. Her pride whispered, "Don't do it. You will look weak. You don't need to change." But something deeper, softer, whispered louder. "Let go. Washington begin again." Her chest rose and fell. Slowly, Ada knelt down. She cupped her hands, scooped the cold water, and splashed it on her face. The chill shocked her skin, making her gasp, but it also awakened her spirit. She splashed again. And again. Soon, she was scrubbing her arms, her neck, her legs. The stream carried the dirt away, swallowing years of stubbornness. Her tangled hair dripped with water as she leaned forward, submerging her head until the current whispered against her ears. It felt like being reborn. As the dirt melted off her skin, Ada felt lighter, as though the heaviness in her heart was leaving too. Tears welled in her eyes, not of sadness, but of relief. When she finally lifted her head, water dripping down her cheeks, she caught her reflection again. But this time, the girl staring back was different. Her eyes were brighter, her skin glowed beneath the morning sun, and her smile soft, genuine, unforced, was the most beautiful thing she had ever seen. She laughed, a pure sound that echoed through the trees. Not the mocking, defiant laugh she once used to shield herself, but a laugh that bubbled with joy and freedom. She twirled in the shallow water, splashing and giggling like a child. For the first time in her life, Ada wasn't proud because she was dirty. She was proud because she had chosen to change. The stream had not only cleansed her skin, it had cleansed her heart. The sun rose gently over Yumini's village, painting the mud huts golden and setting the palm trees aglow. Roosters crowed, children fetched water, and women swept their compounds, their brooms stirring the dust into little clouds. It was a morning like any other until Ada walked into the square. The villagers turned one by one, their jaws slack, their eyes wide. Gone was the girl in tattered, mud-stained clothes with tangled hair and dusty feet. Before them stood a new Ada. Her hair, washed and neatly braided, glistened with little beads of water that still clung to the strands. Her face shone bright and smooth, her wrapper was clean even if simple, and her bare feet looked soft, as if the earth itself had polished them. She did not walk with arrogance, nor with shame. She walked with a quiet grace, a smile tugging at her lips, her shoulders straight like a queen returning to her throne. The children who once mocked her now stared in awe. One boy whispered, "Is that really Ada?" Another girl, clutching her mother's hand, gasped, "She looks like the morning sun." Even the adults, who had long shaken their heads at her, murmured among themselves, So Ada can be this beautiful. Change has touched her." A little girl, no older than 5, ran up to Ada shyly and tugged at her clean wrapper. Looking up with wide eyes, she said, "Ada, you are so beautiful." Ada's heart swelled, not with pride of dirt and defiance, but with something far greater, a pride rooted in growth. She bent down, touched the child's cheek, and replied softly, "Thank you, my dear." But beauty is not just in clothes or hair. True beauty is when you allow yourself to grow. The villagers gathered around, their curiosity turning into admiration. Some clapped, others smiled warmly, and even Mama Ifioma, who stood at the edge of the crowd with her walking stick, nodded knowingly. Ada raised her head, speaking not just to the girl, but to everyone present. I thought strength was never changing, never caring what people thought. But I have learned true strength is knowing when to change, and true pride is letting yourself shine. The words struck deep into the hearts of the villagers. They did not see the stubborn, dirty Ada anymore. They saw a girl reborn, a girl who had learned what many adults still struggle to understand. From that day forward, Ada was no longer called the dirty one. She became known as Ada the Bright. And though she still walked barefoot and still played freely in the dust, she never again wore dirt as her crown. Instead, she wore her wisdom and her smile, and that was brighter than anything else.